On a cold February morning in 1809, in a small log cabin in Hardin County, Kentucky, a boy was born into poverty and uncertainty. His name was Abraham Lincoln, and no one, least of all his struggling parents, could have imagined that this quiet child would one day change the destiny of a nation. Abraham's childhood was shaped by hardship. The cabin had a dirt floor, winters were cruel, and food was often scarce. His mother, Nancy Hanks Lincoln, was gentle and deeply moral. She taught young Abraham the difference between right and wrong, kindness and cruelty. From her, he learned compassion. From his father, Thomas Lincoln, he learned the value of labor. Abraham swung axes, split logs, and worked long hours just to help his family survive. When Abraham was only 9 years old, tragedy struck. His mother fell ill and died. The loss left a deep scar on his heart, one that never truly healed. He became quieter, more thoughtful, and more withdrawn. But pain did not harden him. It softened him. It made him understand suffering, and that understanding would later guide his greatest decisions. Formal education was rare in Abraham's life. Altogether, he received less than a year of schooling. Yet, he was hungry for knowledge. He borrowed books whenever he could, by candlelight or firelight. After long days of labor, he read the Bible, Shakespeare, Aesop's fables, and books on law and history. Words fascinated him. Ideas moved him. He believed that learning could lift a man beyond his circumstances. As a young man, Lincoln failed often. He lost jobs, businesses collapsed, elections were lost, and love brought heartbreak. He once said that his life felt like a series of defeats, but each failure sharpened his character. He learned patience. He learned humility. Most importantly, he learned perseverance. Lincoln eventually taught himself law and became a lawyer in Illinois. Traveling from town to town, he argued cases with honesty and logic. He earned a reputation as a man who would never twist the truth to win. People began to trust him, not because he was loud or powerful, but because he was fair. Politics entered his life slowly. At first, he was just another voice in local debates. But one issue burned deeply inside him: slavery. Lincoln believed slavery was morally wrong, even though he knew ending it would tear the country apart. He spoke carefully, choosing words not to inflame hatred, but to awaken conscience. In 1860, against all odds, Abraham Lincoln was elected President of the United States. The nation was already breaking. Southern states began to secede, and soon the American Civil War erupted. Lincoln did not want war, but he refused to let the Union dissolve. The weight of the nation fell on his shoulders. The war years aged him quickly. Lines carved into his face, his eyes carried deep sadness. He lost his young son Willie during his presidency, a grief that nearly crushed him. Yet even in sorrow, Lincoln stood firm. He visited wounded soldiers, listened to mothers, and spent sleepless nights thinking about the future of the country. In 1863, Lincoln made one of the bravest decisions in American history, the Emancipation Proclamation. With a single document, he declared freedom for millions of enslaved people. It was not just a political move, it was a moral stand. He knew it would bring fierce opposition, but he believed the nation could not survive half free and half enslaved. Later that year, on a battlefield in Gettysburg, Lincoln delivered a short speech that would echo through history. In just a few sentences, he redefined the purpose of the nation: liberty, equality, and government of the people, by the people, for the people. His words were simple, but their power was eternal. In 1863, Lincoln made one of the bravest decisions in American history, the Emancipation Proclamation. With a single document, he declared freedom for millions of enslaved people. It was not just a political move, it was a moral stand. He knew it would bring fierce opposition, but he believed the nation could not survive half free and half enslaved. Later that year, on a battlefield in Gettysburg, Lincoln delivered a short speech that would echo through history. In just a few sentences, he redefined the purpose of the nation: liberty, equality, and government of the people, by the people, for the people. His words were simple, but their power was eternal. By 1865, the war was ending. The Union was preserved, slavery was abolished, and hope cautiously returned. Lincoln spoke not of revenge, but of healing. With malice toward none, with charity for all, he said, urging the nation to bind its wounds. But fate was cruel. On April 14, 1865, just days after the war's end, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated at Ford's Theater. The nation plunged into mourning. Bells tolled, people wept in the streets, and a broken country lost the man who had carried it through its darkest night. Yet Abraham Lincoln did not die that day. He lived on in the freedom of the formerly enslaved. He lived on in the Constitution he defended. He lived on in the belief that even a poor boy from a log cabin could rise to greatness through honesty, courage, and compassion. Abraham Lincoln's story is not just the story of a president. It is the story of resilience, moral courage, and faith in humanity. It reminds us that true greatness is not born from comfort or power, but from struggle, integrity, and an unshakable commitment to what is right.